Hi, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to this training. Hi, Mercy.
Hi, Alex. Good evening.
Good evening. So we're going to start right away. Members will be joining in. So my name is Alex Agaba. I am the president, Kampala Sunrise Toastmasters Club, and I'll be taking you through the first session. And the first session of this training is we're just going to discuss design and the elements of design. Basically, it's really about the best design practices and a few elements that you might want to add into your design to enhance it, to improve it, to level up your design. So it will be about 20 minutes of that, and then I'll hand you over to another facilitator. The next session, I believe, will be getting feedback on our design. So as I load my slides, my PowerPoint, I will share screen too. Or perhaps I have it on PDF. I'm going to use PDF. All right, we're going to get started. Share my screen. So, good evening once again. My session is the first one, and we talk about design. We talk about design theory. And design theory is really, I'm here to empower you with those elements of design that you must have in your design to make it a good design. And there are 6 elements of design. I've picked out 6. Usually 6, or there can be more, but I've picked out the most widely used elements of design, and there are 6. Number 1, we have the line. I'll explain this later. We also have shape. We also have color. Design must have color, right? We also have typography, texture, and also spacing, like what I call white space, or the positive and negative space. So once your design has these elements, I believe you're into a good start. So we're going to tackle each element one at a time with some examples. So the first element of design, as a content creator, as a person creating a poster, a flyer, and we are focusing on club, vice president, public relations, but you can also extend these skills into your personal life. Are you creating a presentation? Are you creating a flyer? Are you creating something for life outside Toastmasters? These tips are for you. So what's a line? A line is something that joins 2 dots. You have a dot here and a dot here, and whatever joins that is a line. It can also be a curve. If you have a dot here and a dot here, and the line joining is a curve, to me, that passes as a line. So when do you use align in design? Align creates a division and hierarchy within your design. It helps direct the user's eye towards a specific set of information or focal point. So I have a few examples here. We have a line, you can see my cursor. There's a line below the word in the first flyer. There's a line below the word digital marketing agency. It's a green horizontal short line. To me, that line marks a demarcation between what would have been a header text and maybe a sub-header text. So that line helps the user identify that there is different kind of text or there's different kind of elements between the two lines. So it's a demarcation, it's a separator, and sometimes it can also guide the person looking at the flyer. It creates a distinction between two aspects of the flyer. It kind of creates a row. There's a row up and a row down. We also have another flyer here. I don't know if I can make my screen full screen. Let me try and make it full screen. Yeah. In the second flyer, you have where you can see the date, the month, and the time. The designer here uses vertical lines to separate the section of day, the section of month, and the section of time. So it's still, the line is a very efficient way of separating your information, and it makes it easy and clearer for the person that's viewing your work when you use a line in such a clever way. So the next element, let's talk about shapes. Shapes are like a circle, a triangle, a square. You know what shapes are? They can be different kind of shapes, even pentagon, all those count as shapes. You also have shapes that are not very conventional, like maybe some elements like leaves, flowers, or animals. If you can have those parts of life, like animals, if you can make it into one rasterized color shape, it can work as a good shape. How do you use shapes? To me, also shapes are used to create an emphasis of some area, and to me, also shapes can also work as shapes can be used to enclose a particular area, and they can help the person looking at the poster to know that there's some emphasis in this area of the poster, depending on what shape and color of shape you give it. In the examples of the posters we have here, there's a shape behind the gentleman. The first flyer on which is my left here. There is a purple, that's purple or pink. It's a purple shape, like a cloud behind the gentleman. And this flyer is essentially a black and white flyer, but with that purple shape. The purple shape being behind creates an emphasis on that area. And to me, without that shape, that man would be less visible. So the shape creates a focal point. The shape emphasizes that element. So when you have a shape, it creates an emphasis and it guides the eye of the person looking at the flyer. On the right-hand side, the other flyer, company flyer, I see shapes. There's so many shapes here on that particular one. They are circular shapes. I see a pattern there. The designer repeats the shape, like one circle, two circles, three circles, which is also very clever. Patterns are very good in design, but let's focus on shape. The first shape is blue, a gradient of blue, but because it's blue, the shape has a very good background color, which makes the text on the shape stand out. And this flyer is very easy to read because of that shape. Without that shape, I don't think that what creative marketing agencies have been as visible as it is, and even the paragraph text, we are committed to provide the best services to grow. It's also very visible. So you can use shapes to make your elements more visible, and also to emphasize a particular portion of the page you're working with. How about color? Imagine a poster without color. So to me, color is a must. Well, even black and white is a color. What does color do to a poster? Well, color can stand alone. It can act as a background or highlight for other elements in your design. Colors also help to evoke emotions and establish a mood behind the design. There's a whole theory to color, and you know what color does. For example, the color of the sun. When you see the color of the sun, it just tells out warm. The color of the sun is yellow, so these are warm colors. Yellow and red are classified as warm colors. And imagine the color of the sea, the ocean, it's blue. So those colors are also classified as maybe not so warm or cold, but also colors evoke motion. You know the color of love is also red. Or if you look at many brands, for example, banks, most banks are color blue. This shows that blue is a color that tries to evoke the emotion of trust. If your bank was red, would you trust your money in a red ATM? So these colors kind of speak to our moods, and also colors define the tone of the brand. On the screen, I have like a color palette of sorts with a different kind of popular logos. So here they say the color yellow creates optimism, and it's clearly a warm color like the sun. So some very warm brands like Shell, Best Buy, McDonald's, Nikon, UPS, these brands use the color yellow to create optimism within their brand. Some colors are friendly, like the color orange, and you see brands like Fanta. Fanta likes to be fun and friendly. Some colors elicit excitement, like red in this case, and you see many brands that are using red to elicit excitement. A brand like Coca-Cola is red. A brand like CNN, which other brand is popularly known as red. Canon is red. There you have it. You have purple. Purple is a very classic color to me. Purple creates an illusion of sophistication, and you're going to find many like churches, pastors like the color purple for that purpose. But here we have colors like brands like Yahoo. Who remembers Yahoo? Purple. Barbie. Purple. We also have, I said banks like to use blue to elicit to create an illusion of trust, or to brand themselves as a trustworthy institution, because banks keep our money. So you want to feel like the money is safe. So other brands that are using blue are Dell, HP, these are computer companies. A lot of tech companies are going to use blue also. I think that's really it about color. I can't speak about color any further than that. Use colors to elicit emotion. Use colors to identify yourself with a particular brand tone. And also use colors to stand out. Use colors to highlight a few elements. Use colors as good background. What's the next design element? Typography. With typography is really key, because you're going to have to write something on your brand, on your design. They're going to use text, and text is typography. And with typography, we have that Your text is how it looks. Your text and how it looks isn't just about conveying a message. It can also convey a mood. So some fonts like serif fonts, who knows the serif fonts? Serif fonts are like Times New Roman. Serif fonts are those fonts that have pointed corners. Like if you're reading the Time magazine or the New York Times, that's a serif font. These serif fonts tend to evoke more of a traditional feeling or very serious feeling, while sans serif fonts are like CNN. These are typographies that are very smooth. Such fonts elicit or evoke emotions of modern, the modern fonts. So a bit playful also, but very modern. Very modern brands are using serif fonts. Typography can also create a visual hierarchy in your design. For example, you use larger fonts to indicate headers, titles, or you can use smaller fonts to indicate that here is a subtext, here is a paragraph text. An example of font types, if you look at these flyers here, we're using big bold text to indicate that it's the title, goodbye is the negative. That's a header, and that's the emphasis on that header because it's big bold. And that font type is a serif font. It's a sans serif font. Most modern designs are going to use sans serif font. Let's talk about texture. Texture refers to the way a surface feels or is perceived, especially in digital flyers. You don't feel it, but you perceive it. Textures create more dynamism or a visual appeal for experience while adding depth to your design. By texture, most artworks don't have texture for the background. If you look at these art pieces, the background isn't very plain and white. The background has some elements. For example, the first flyer has some yellow elements in the background. Those are small emojis. So the creator randomly spreads those emojis around behind the element to create some depth, also to create some design, and also to kill the monotony. It's a creative way of just having your work look dynamic. The second flyer, the texture is also in the background. You can see it's not a plain white background. The creator is using some rough texture in the background. He's probably getting an image and blurring it and making it a black and white. Or some of these textures, you can actually just download them off the internet. If you go online and you search for background textures, you can get such light, not very strong, something grayish. A gray texture is very good for background. Let's talk about spaces, positive and negative spaces. Spaces refer to areas above, below, or around, or behind an object. If you look at these flyers, what I like about them is the use of space. The flyer is not very congested, not very noisy. The first flyer, which has a very green, spacious background. The designer has very few words. The designer has a huge header called delicious food menu and a small paragraph text and the image of the food. And that's basically it. The rest of the flyer is what I call white space. That space just makes a flyer very legible. It's not very congested, and everything is in one row. Like everything is centered in the middle and in one row. The designer really emphasizes his message, and it's clear. Delicious food, then a small description of it, and the image, and the rest of the flyer is space. You don't have to fill the flyer with text. Make your flyer breathe with a lot of space. Same applies to the next flyer, the one on the right. And I like how this person is using shape, and in the shape, is using space. So for example, that yellow rectangular shape has space in it, where by the word digital marketing expert, which is his focus element, has a lot of yellow space around it. So embrace spaces in your design. Don't look at spaces as unfinished work. Look at spaces as a creative way of highlighting the object. So in summary, I'm just going to go through them again, just summarize, and for those who could have come in late, there are 6 major elements that you can use to level up your design work. And these are line, shape, color, typography, texture, and white space. You can use a line to separate elements and create a visual hierarchy by separating elements. You can use shape to emphasize particular elements, like on the flyer on the right, the word creative marketing agency is emphasized by the blue shape and the spacing, of course. Colors evoke emotions. If you're creating a flyer for a business, you want to choose navy blue. If you're creating a flyer for a party, you want to go with party colors like yellow, which are warm, and red for excitement. Typography is key. Choose modern typography, for example, sans serif fonts like most flyers are having. Even Toastmasters colors are sans serif. Toastmasters fonts are sans serif. Then use white space to elicit modernity, to make your flyer more clear. Embrace the white space, and your flyer will be more eligible. Thank you very much for listening to me. I'll stop screen sharing. So I don't have any questions, but that's really it about my presentation, and I'll hand you back to Angelina.
Thank you so much, Alex. That was really great to hear and to understand the different elements of design. So when we're designing a poster, now we know that lines and shapes really do create a lot of content. And I like what Mercy is saying. Mercy, would you like to unmute and maybe share some feedback?
Hi, Angelina. Yeah, sure. First of all, that was a very intriguing presentation. It really got me wondering and glued. I did not know about the aspect of colors and how brands are very intentional about the kind of colors that they're choosing. I have found that to be very interesting, and it also got me thinking about Toastmasters International and the colors that they have chosen for the brand. And I think now I am in a place where I can clearly focus on the Toastmasters colors and just how to amplify the brand as well. Thank you so much, Alex, for that presentation. What to you, Angelina?
Thank you, Mercy. Really caught on that attention to detail, the fact that colors really do matter when it comes to branding. Are there any questions or comments that anyone would like to add? This is a really great opportunity to ask further. If, for instance, there's a question on texture, because I'm sure texture can be a bit tricky. I can see in the chat we have also Baron. Hi, Baron. All right, so Baron is going to come up next, and he's asking if you have prepared any Canva poster that you'd like to work on now. So this is supposed to be a workshop. One of the requests is going to be that you have a Canva design that you're working on, and we can have a look at it. And based on what Alex has shared with us just now, we're going to make amendments and improvements as we are working on these posters that you have brought into the meeting. All right, I hear Rose is very excited. Thank you, Rose. So you have the link ready. Just share the link in the chat. And the way for you to share a link, I hope you know how to share links to the designs that you have. If you don't know, then I'm sure we can have Baron, who is coming up next, share his screen and show you how to do it. Okay, I can see Rose is asking how to share the link. Baron, when you're ready, over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Angelina, and thank you, Alex. That was incredible. I believe we have learned so much about the principles and the elements of design. My name is Baron Ochola. I am from Lubowa Toastmasters Club, where I work on the VPPR's committee, but I have also taken a few classes on art and design. So I have a few things that I think would be interesting for us to know about as artists and as designers, especially as VPPRs in the Toastmasters universe. So how to share? Let me just share my screen right now. So if you have a poster, you see this section, right? I am pointing at the screen, funny enough, like you can see my hands, yes. When you see the section where the mouse is, right here, can you see it? Angelina, please confirm to me if you can see. I see some movement in the group, in the chat, but it is not yet a link. So if you see here, where it says share, that is at the left corner of the screen. You can share right there, you click on it, and then it asks you, how do you share? So what you can do is you can copy a link, or you can, before you copy the link, kindly put access to anyone with the link, such that I can also access it on this side. Copy the link, access, works on it, copy the link, and then you get that link and you paste it in the chat as we can see now. So that is a link I have just shared. So anybody who has a poster they have worked on that we can work on improving, or we can just look and say, these are the good things that you did. This is where we can improve. This is how the elements and the principles that Alex just talked about apply. You can do that just now, and then we get into it. Anybody? While we wait for somebody to do that, we can say hello. Hello, everybody. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing well. I wanted to share, but not everything. I just wanted to share one which I was trying as a thank you card. And that's where I'm a bit stuck. I don't want to share my whole everything.
No, it will share only that. It will share only that.
Only the thank you card that I'm trying to change.
Yes, please. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. I see Rose, we've just been interacting. I see Dan Odero, Florence Nansumbi, Frederick, I see Grace, I see Josephine, Maria. Thank you, everybody, for joining in as we wait for that link. How far with it, Rose? Is it coming? When you share, it's going to share only that project. It will not share your entire Canva journey.
Really? Okay, but now I'm looking for it, and I had saved it, but I'm just trying to locate it because I can't see it now.
What you do?
Where has it gone to?
What you do? Are you on Canva right now? Yes.
Yes, I'm in Canva. I'm under project. Canva projects. I had started it in the morning.
If you're on Canva, what you can do is just go.
I go? Sorry? Sorry, I didn't get you there.
Yes, please. You can go on. Please go on.
No, I said I've gone to projects where it was earlier, but I For some reason, I'm not getting it there. It was there earlier, but right now, as I look for it, I can only see one poster, but it's not the one I'm looking for. The one I started working on. I'm in Canva, Canva project.
Okay, I see. Maybe we can.
Okay, let's do this. Let me.
Yes.
There's something different. It's not the one I want, but let me try with this.
You can send it,
So
and then we shall go over it next. Right now, I see Grace.
So let me say share this design, and then what do I do? Copy link.
Copy and then check. But then check, yes, Alex says check recent designs. But meanwhile, let us go through a link that Grace has sent in the chat. So I'm just going to click on it. Yes, and right on time, it is opening up. So just a second for the technology to Canva design, and it should go right to the Canva application shortly.
Excuse me, Baron, I'd like to ask a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so when you come to Canva and then they give you different templates, which one do you choose? Because there are so many, there's like Instagram, post, Facebook, like which size is best for the flyers?
The size that is best for flyers can differ. While I get to that, the size that is best for flyers can differ. Meanwhile, I'm going to answer that, but I request that we send one that is connected to Toastmasters, because I see the one that we have got right now is a poster that doesn't have much to do with Toastmasters. So we may end up missing the point if I'm to explain what it has to do with. So just to get back to it, when you go to Canva, there are many sizes. Sometimes A4 would be what you want to use. But if you're making a poster, especially for social media, you can create one for 1,800 by 1,800 pixels. So let us try that. When you come here to templates, let us say file, and then here, you can create new design, right? And from new design, as you can see, Instagram, it's rather 1080. So the Instagram post itself already has 1080 by 1080 pixels. So that is what is ideal for most social media. If you're to share it on WhatsApp, it will work out well for you. But if you're to create something that you want to print out, then it's preferable that you use an A4 or A3. Does that answer the question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Toastmaster Alex, perhaps you have a link that we can use, even one of the ones that you have created, because we are not getting so much from that department yet.
If I may, what we can also do, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
All right, then what we can also do is allow our VPPRs and Toastmasters to actually share their screen, and then we guide them on how to share the links, because now we need everybody to have these skills. Is that all right with everyone? Who would like to go first? Share your screen. Let me see if I have my settings. Yes, everybody can share. So let's have a volunteer share your screen, and then we will guide you so that you know next time how to share these links.
That is an amazing idea.
Who was struggling earlier? Was it Rose? Paula? I was jumping from one device to the other, so I sort of lost track of the conversation.
It was me, and I'm making progress. I want to log in with my laptop. I was on my phone so that I can have what I was looking for, but I'm trying to see how to share it with you in a minute. Or what have you suggested we do instead? What do we do with our screens? Let me log in through my laptop first, and then what do we do next?
All right, once you've logged in with your laptop and you have access to Canva, then you will share your screen. You have the rights, and we will guide you. So Baron will guide you through the process of sharing the link.
And it will only look at that one. Okay, I'm connecting. So it will only look at that one. What do you call it? One post. It won't see all my posts, right? So I'm waiting for the host to let me in.
Okay. So we can't see you. Okay, I've seen you, Rose.
Then I go now back to my Canva.
Then you select the design that you want us to see. And you can share your screen for that particular tab or window.
Recording in progress.
I'm doing that in a minute.
And there's a slight echo from the two devices that you're logged in at. Okay.
Okay, good for them quickly to share. I'm sharing the screen.
Okay.
All right. So I think
Okay,
we
there
can
it
go.
is. Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it. But I request, do you have one that has something to do with Toastmasters?
See, this is Toastmasters, but I don't know where is
Cameras are not yet on. Okay.
how do I put it?
So what
I'm
you can do
looking
is,
for the logos. I need to take the logos and put them there.
so do you see the corner right near where you see where it says thank you Facebook post, and then to the other end of it, there is where it says share.
Stop share.
No, I'm not talking about stop share. Within the Canva application, it says share.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
It's right there. So now what you do is first go to where it says only you can access. You click on that, and then you click to anyone with the link.
Okay.
Yes, then right after that you can copy, and then you go to the chat of the Zoom meeting.
Yes. I've put it there.
Then, yes, right, like that. So if you were to share with somebody via email, you would do the same thing. You copy, and then you go to your email and send it to them as an email.
When I do what? So I didn't get you there.
If you were to share it with somebody as an email, you would do the same thing. And then instead of coming to a WhatsApp chat, you would go to your email, and then you send it to them.
Okay, so now how do I make this look like a project? Really, how do I want to make a thank you card, and I need to put the logo. So I wanted to copy the Toastmaster logo from a different one.
Now, the Toastmasters logo, do you have it in a file? Do you have it downloaded on your computer?
No, unless I download it now. Let me download it now. Let me see if I can download it. All right. Although this thank you card is not the best, I wanted to work with this and now change it to look different. I was just looking for any that I found.
Yes.
The Toastmasters and then the carry one. Toastmasters can be up.
So, thank you. So the Toastmasters logo,
Yeah,
according to the brand guidelines. Thank you, Rose. So according to the brand guidelines of the about the Toastmasters logo, first off, you are supposed to put it to the right, and I'm still a bit confused about which one is right and left, but you see the end you've put it on. Now take it to the other side of the project.
Or to the left?
The side, yes. Oops. So ideally, that is the end where it's supposed to be. It's either that or you put it at the bottom right, which is diagonally. So it's either
Bottom
that
right.
or there. So you do not put
So
it
it's
on this
either
other
here
side.
or the right?
Either here. If you were to put it on the right, it will be down. If you put it on the left, it has to stay up there. Yes.
Okay.
So kindly go down to where it says 32.
32. Okay, just hold on. I was trying to download. Okay. We go to 32. 1 second,
Back
please.
to the Canva project.
Yes, I go to. So yes, I've seen 32. I make it bigger?
Yes, back to the Canva project. Yes, please.
Okay, I've done that.
So now, yes, thank you. So now, one of the things that we look at on this poster, what can we point out as the rest of the VPPRs? What can we point out about this poster before we get into it in just a minute?
It's very plain and boring.
It is?
It's plain and boring and no colors, no different colors.
Plain and boring and no other colors. Yes, please. Anybody else? Font is off. I see that in the chat. The font is off. Yes. What else do we see about it? Just two more. You can type in the chat while we go on. So yes, the font is off. And then we see that it does not have colors. It seems a bit. So when you look at this, one of the things that you want to take care of is the background. Now, when you look at a Toastmasters, now let me log in with the link you sent, then I can share my screen and help to work on it from this side.
And I usually put a KRA logo and I've been told there's something about it. So I was trying to see if I can download it and add it there.
I'm just logging into that file. So while it is logging in, it is taking quite some time.
And which font am I supposed to use?
Right.
Sans serif.
The fonts that you're supposed to use are 4. One of them is called Gotham Black. No, Gotham rather, not Gotham Black, Gotham. Then the next one is Montserrat. I am going to type that spelling in. Yes, it has opened on this side. Let me help you to work on this side. So from this side, we are going to need to use the Toastmasters colors. Which colors I have saved somewhere, I will just upload it.
Well, I always go wrong on the colors. I don't know whether I could have them somewhere. And I heard you say we can do the circle. I don't know how to do that. I see some posters with so many things in it, and I really admire it, but I don't know how to get.
I'm trying to log. My net is a bit slow, but perhaps let me use this sample that we have here as an example, because the net is a bit slow. So I should still be able to show you what this looks like using this sample that we are loading.
I hope you share your contact so that when you have issues, we can call.
So, yes, please. So as you can see, maybe let's look at this design. You're seeing the hierarchy. You look and see at the top here, as I talked about background, there's the foreground, then there's the middle ground, and then there's the lower ground. So when you're arranging, you want to have hierarchy. Usually in the foreground here, can you see where I'm circling? In the foreground, which is the top of the poster.
Okay.
One of the things that you want to do is you want to have your logo there, and you want to have what
we can't see where you're pointing to.
Baron, please stop share and share again.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
So as I was saying, the top here where I am scrolling, if you can see it, I'm scrolling quite slow.
Yes, yes.
Would ideally have the Toastmasters logo here, and then you have the name of the club, such that they are the first things that somebody sees when they look at the poster. That is with the hierarchy, one of the things that was spoken about earlier. They are the first things, so you try to avoid putting a lot of cloudy information here, such that you have the basics of what somebody sees. Somebody looks and says, boom, Toastmasters, the logo, and then the Toastmasters name of the club. Then on this side, you could have, on this side, you could separate it as you see this. You could separate this middle ground and say part of this will go with the picture, because you always need to have a picture. And remember, we should have pictures of people speaking or people engaging, rather than having pictures of a location, or you have a picture of a swimming pool, or pictures of animals. Instead, you should have a picture of somebody, preferably a speaker. And then here, you have the next information that you want somebody to look at after they have seen the logo and the name. What is the next thing that you want them to look at? So you'll say, I want them to see the date. Or perhaps I want them to see that we are having a speakathon. So you can have it right here. Then the next part.
Where would the speaker be? The speaker would be on which side?
You can have the speaker on any side, but just the hierarchy of how this one is organized. You can have the speaker on either side. Just the hierarchy of how this poster is organized. So here you would have had this web business webinar come right down here. And then here you would have the Toastmasters logo and the club name. And then the time would come down here, because the time is the next important thing. So somebody looks at the poster in hierarchy and says, this is Toastmasters. Oh, which club? Oh, this is Masaki Toastmasters. All right. Then the picture gets their attention and they say, oh, who is speaking? Oh, we shall have Toastmaster Angelina. Wow. Then they look here and say, what is the date? They see the date and time. Then they say, all right, I'll be free on that day. What location is this once again? Then they look at it. Then they will look down here and say, okay, so who do I contact? That's why the contacts usually come down and they're a bit smaller. So you are also using the size of your fonts and the size of the things you are placing on the poster to show somebody what is more important than what is the next important thing. Now, Toastmaster Angelina, kindly allow me to, while I cannot share, I may not be able to pull, since I use Illustrator, I may not be able to pull from there, but I can just share a photo of a poster I have done. I hope that's all right. Mercy,
Yes,
please, you can.
that's in order.
Oh, sorry. I was also going to ask, once you've done that, is it possible to help me do a thank you card? It doesn't have to be the one I was using.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, card. Yes, please. I'll be able to help with that. So let me look for a poster here that has something to do with Toastmasters. Here we have KTM, or perhaps just a second.
Baron, I had a question.
Yes, please, Mercy. I'd seen your hand up, question. Yes, please.
Yes, it was in regard to the kind of images that we can use on
Yes,
the
please.
poster.
Yes, please.
It is encouraged to use meeting like pictures,
Yes.
but I am wondering in the case of themes, because I have come to realize that the pictures that we put on the posters are usually determined by the theme that we have for that day. So for example, a theme like Earth Day, I would
Yes.
ideally not put people in a meeting as the images in the poster. So maybe you can provide more direction in regards to the images that are allowed on the Toastmasters posters.
If, for example, the theme is Earth Day, it still would not reflect in so much, but you'd have to find a way of working it in. For example, let me display this one right here. Here we have, it's taking quite a while. I'm loading a poster here about tall tales. Okay, you cannot fight with the technology. Wait a bit. You just have to wait a bit. So let me just wait a bit while the technology does. All right. So as we can see here about tall tales, to try to get an image that will blend in with it, but does
Baron,
not
you have to stop there and
overshadow.
share again.
So microphone behind.
Baron, we can't see what you're sharing. You have to stop there and share.
Yes, please. Can you see now?
It is telling us.
Alex, can you see what I'm sharing?
Yes, now we can, at least on my end.
Yes,
Now you can.
yes.
So you would have to find a way of working in the theme, but in most cases, it's not that flexible for you to work in the theme. Like if it's Earth Day, somebody may want to have a tree there or a photo of a tree, but that may not work out so well. You would try to have the spur. I'm trying to think of how that would work, because I've seen where, right here, where a Toastmasters club was saying choose happiness, and then they use the theme of these two beer pints. But it didn't seem to work out well. It didn't show what Toastmasters was about, but also it did not seem to blend in well with what they were trying to communicate. So with Earth Day, you can just say Earth Day. I think I have to expound, but it may not really So one of the ways you can do is you try to have a picture, according to the brand manual, you try to have a picture of somebody being engaging. So perhaps for Earth Day, you could also have one like that. And then still here where we still have the host of the meeting holding the meeting. So we could still have one like that. Then look at, I'm sure I've not answered the question well, but let me first go back to this. So when you look at this hierarchy, you have the logo here. You try to have it either here, lower bottom side of it. But here, according to the brand manual, it's not allowed. Neither can you have it here or in the middle here. Sometimes at the top here is allowed, especially for division and district. Then when you look at this photo, this is just about the same hierarchy that's planning. You can see that the date is smaller than the theme, because the theme is more important information than the date. And then the Toastmaster of the day's photo is seen right here, along with her name. And then down here, we have the meeting passcode and the other information that comes final. But then let's go into more detail. Look at the photo. There was a bit of a detail added here, which is waves. So can you see how these waves are playing out? These are waves to play out like water, which plays into the theme that says rising above the tide. So those are some of the patterns that you don't only work on that, but you add them in. Then here we have this circle. As Alex had earlier talked about how a circle can accentuate what you're trying to bring focus on. So we have this circle. The whole poster is themed. The lines here, instead of straight lines, they also used waves to communicate that we are rising above the tide. My next take your attention to is the colors, the Toastmasters colors. Toastmasters colors are 3. But white is a neutral color, so it can come into play. So here we have happy yellow, which was used in the background here. It was used with words and it was used here. Then we have this specific blue, and then we have the maroon. Then we also have gray, that is a Toastmaster. So that's one thing that was missing in the poster that we just got from Toastmaster Rules. Use typography, using typography to communicate, which is safer. The waves are, yes, I see some comments here, right? They merge well with the background. They are not too loud, yes. Now, how the waves merge with the background, let's take it back to Canva. With the waves merging to the background, for example, if you chose to which is business webinar. Kindly excuse my device today. You can send it in the background. If not, you can make it, you can work on the opacity such that it is seen, but from it does not fire the front. The same way you can see here, there's a bit of a blur here. So you can get a photo and put it in the background. And
Sorry, Baron, you want to stop share? Maybe. You want to stop share and share again? We're losing your share. think we've lost Baron. Angelina, you want to take over? Hi, everyone. As Baron starts, tries to connect again. Do you have any questions so far? Do you have any questions that you can quickly answer? Well, this is a feedback session. If you have any artwork, this is when you share your artwork and we give you feedback. Because at Toastmasters, we give feedback. Feedback is like how the work we do at Toastmasters. If you have any work you're working on, even if it's not finished, this is when you share it. You get feedback from me, Baron, and Angelina. So, Rose, do you feel like you're in a better space now to create your thank you poster? Hi, Rose. Hi, Angelina. Hi, everyone. Am I audible?
Hi, Alex. I can hear you.
Great. Was there anyone else who wanted to share their poster and we just make it better, elevate it using the brand guideline and the elements of design just covered today? Was there someone else to share the link? I remember I saw a link in the chat earlier. Who was it? Was it Grace? Is Grace here? Grace, are you still there? Hi, Grace. Hi, Grace.
Hi, Alex.
Yeah, you shared the link. You want us to look at your design also? You can do it now. Let me see.
Toastmaster Ochola said that it was not Toastmasters related. So I'm open to seeing other posters.
All right. Is there anyone else? Let me look at it. Or Rose. Rose, are you in a better place now to create a thank you poster? I like your idea of thanking members, appreciating members. It's a kind of poster that's beyond the meeting poster, and I think that was a great idea. So as we conclude this section
Alex.
of feedback and evaluation, yes, Martin?
Can I kindly share my screen? I came across a poster that I'd love to hear your opinion about.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Just maybe you can tell me what you think. About the poster. Can you see my screen?
Ooh,
Yes,
Halloween.
you can.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Yes,
And it's Halloween time.
Yes.
Very ambitious.
Wow, what a message.
Right?
You're creating it for Toastmasters Club, yeah. Toastmasters Club. TM, which is Halloween theme. Come join us with Mr. and Miss Halloween. Yeah, like someone said, very ambitious. Number one, I want to give my feedback on the design, not really brand or anything, but I want to appreciate the design and poster. You really tick most of the boxes as far as I love your spacing. Your work isn't very congested. You're very clever with your spacing. That is your ducks are in a row. I see your pictures are in one row. Your text is in its own row. So well done with the spacing. Everything is like breathing. Number two, I love your texture. Like that background Halloween is. It's right there. It's good background texture. It's not competing with a foreground text. Well done. It's a well-designed poster. And you're very clever also. You didn't put the Toastmaster logo because that way you're off the hook as far as brand guidelines are concerned. You didn't use the Toastmasters brand, but you used the club name to elicit a Halloween atmosphere. And I see what you're doing. You have a Casper icon for a ghost. Yeah, but how would you transform this into a Toastmaster brand guideline poster? That would be the question now. This passes because you didn't put a Toastmaster logo. So no one can come and say you are not working with a brand guideline. But we also at Toastmasters we encourage work to be done with a brand guideline, because you know what a brand is all about. We have a brand tone. We are a place where leaders are made. We have that strong blue for trust and that. So Mercy, is this a Canva poster?
Alex, as I mentioned, I did come across this poster. I think it's the Toastmasters Club is in India, if I'm not wrong. So I was very curious and intrigued, first of all, because as you mentioned, there is a lot of effort and creativity that has been put into this, which I think goes to my previous question to Baron about how do you balance out the theme? Because if we are talking about being in theme, this poster is perfect. It has been designed perfectly for Halloween. But again, it is for Sunshine Toastmasters Club, it's the Toastmasters meeting, ideally.
Yeah. So this is my own opinion, by the way. To me, because they didn't use the Toastmaster logo, or they didn't use the Toastmaster logo, and I think that's why, because they knew what they were doing. They wanted to go rogue in terms of the design, and they were clever not to use the Toastmaster logo and communicate their message. But you can also achieve this theme with Toastmaster brand. And if I can just add on to what Baron said, with a theme, some themes are a little bit out of the box, if I can use that word. So, and yet the Toastmaster brand guideline is trying to keep us in a box, in the kind of image you can use, the colors you can use, even the fonts you can use. They only give you 2 fonts to work with, 2 or 3. So they're trying to be a little bit, I'm going to the word conservative, but don't quote me. They're trying to be conservative with the brand, which is for obvious reasons. Yeah. So sometimes as a VPPR, you want to think outside the box. And I feel like if you do that, then you have to do what they did. Don't use a brand, don't use a logo. But how can we achieve the Toastmaster brand and also work with a theme? My quick tips are work with typography, like use typography as much as possible to speak to your theme. Use, if it's Halloween, use the font type they recommend, make it big and bold, and we shall see that you're trying to communicate Halloween. Yeah. Then use professional images like Toastmaster recommends, but work with a lot of typography and colors. Use colors to bring out your theme. Because Halloween is a bit gothic. Use a lot of gray, use a lot of the maroon, can bring out that theme properly. I feel like we are running out of time with the session for evaluation. Angelina, you advise
Hi, Alex. Yes, we are running out of the evaluation sessions. However, you can go ahead and finish what you are saying so that we can go to the next session, which is the workshop.
Yeah, I just wanted maybe to comment on Rose. Rose had a good idea with a thank you poster. Did she share her link? And I think Baron tried to load it, and maybe the internet didn't work properly. But if we can just let me see if I can load it here. We manage to load, and I see how I can just also add like 1 or 2 tricks to how I work to no, it clearly didn't load on our side. But yeah, maybe Rose, I saw your work earlier. My comments on your work earlier was that you can use the canvas more. Everything was in centered and everything looks like the elements were close to each other. So if you can use shapes and separate your elements, put your elements into different shapes, you would I think achieve a better poster. You put the word thank you on the right column and put maybe the picture of the person you're thanking on the left column. Put them in shapes and use more color, change the font size, and use different colors for the text. Maybe if you try that, you can share your work with us. You can leave our text, leave our emails in the chat. You can also keep in touch with us. Thank you very much. Back to you, Angelina.
Your contacts?
Sorry, Angelina.
I think Rose is asking a question.
Yes,
I'm asking for his contacts. I just need somebody who can guide me outside of this session so that I can, because each post I send has a comment. I'm told something about Carrie logo. I don't have the details, so I seem to keep making the same mistakes. I just need somebody who can probably handhold me for a while. So I was asking for your contact.
Sure. So, okay, this is the first test. I can leave my WhatsApp number here, probably. Everyone. I'm going to put my WhatsApp number and email contact here in the chat. Thank you.
All right. And we are also always available in the VPPR group to support and guide where possible. So you can always reach out to Alex, to Baron, or to myself, and even amongst one another when there's a challenge somewhere you feel like you can always get a little bit of help. And again, the brand manual is really, really your best friend as a VPPR, because the part with the branding, with the corporate logo, it is inside the brand manual itself. I'm going to try and find it real quick so that I can share it with you. So you just give me a second as I try to find where I have stored it. All right, so here you go. So this brand manual has so many different areas that it covers. It goes all the way from talking about how to use images, which images to use. So here, for instance, it's talking about the photography style should reflect the Toastmasters environment, so that when people are looking at this meeting image, they know, like, am I going to meet people in in a professional setting, or is it going to be a casual setting? Are we going to be meeting maybe at a garden? Or is it going to be at a pub? Like I saw the EABL, the beer. So you expect to meet people at a restaurant maybe, or a pub somewhere for a party in the evening. And it also sets the tone. So what you want to do with the photography is reflect what we actually experience every time we're in a Toastmasters meeting, which is that of a professional setting where we're going to engage in public speaking. And there is a variety of resources as well. Now, when it comes to the logo placement, it explains that there is a variety of logos. You can put it also on images as long as it does not become this, like you can still see it. It is not a challenge to see it. Sometimes the photograph in the background is so busy, or the colors are so close to that of the logo that you cannot see the logo itself. And then there was also a section about corporate logos. Now, unless I go back and look for this corporate club guidelines. Oh, I was skipping this. Okay, so here it's telling you, this is page 31, where it says you can create materials for your corporate club utilizing these guidelines. When using both the Toastmasters logo and the corporate logo, make sure they are never side by side. And I like what you have done with the KRA logo, because they're never like touching one another. They're never just 1 millimeter away from one another. They're in separate corners. And that is exactly how it's supposed to be done. And then what Baron had said earlier, you can always start with the Toastmasters logo first, as well as here it's saying place the Toastmasters logo and the corporation logo on opposite sides or corners of the material, or have one on the top and one at the bottom. If you can look at this image, it says brand where it's at the top, and then we have the Toastmasters logo at the bottom. So never put them side by side. Make sure it's either to the left and right or to the top and bottom, so that there's always that distinction that they are not one brand, but rather separate brands. And I know that very, very often when we look at either a print or a website where you have people talking about these are our partners, and all these partners and all these people, they have their logos just side by side, just like that. So now what Toastmasters is, as Alex had said, they are rather specific about what they want their brand to be like and how they would like it to be set. There are other organizations that are a bit more flexible, but the purpose also, the great aspect of having this strict approach with the brand is to create recognition. So for instance, the image that Mercy had shared, in 3 seconds, without reading anything, would it have been clear that this is a Toastmasters club? So you remember, people's attention are getting shorter and shorter. You want to make sure that the recognition is instant. As fast as possible, people recognize what your brand is about. You want to capture your audience. So let us say you're coming from work and you feel like you have given a presentation that wasn't the best, and you come across this Halloween poster. And then next one after that is another poster of another organization providing public speaking and communication skills building. And it looks very professional. It looks like the kind of thing that would save you from the trouble that you've just come out of, giving a really disturbing presentation. And like the experience was not that great. So you came out of there a little bit feeling shaky. And here's a Halloween poster, and then here is a professional poster that makes you confident that next time your presentation will be better. So which one will you feel more confident with? Which meeting would you rather go to? The kind of feelings that you also elicit is very important. What can people associate with? Remember, the reason that you're here is to improve on your communication skills. The feelings that you went through when you recognize that you needed to improve on something is what the other person is going through as well when they're trying to look for solutions. And what we do at Toastmasters is provide the solution, and you want to sell that solution in the best possible way. And that is to tell people, we understand what your challenge is, come to us, we take your challenge very seriously. Baron had mentioned, no, that was Alex actually. Alex said that if you want to be out of brand, that is okay, but don't put the logo on it. Just don't put the logo on it. And this works very well for social meetings. So if you want to have a social meeting where it is not exactly the strict Toastmasters Club meetings, you can always have it freestyle, whatever suits you. Like I like what Mercy was asking about Earth Day. You can have the earth, you can have the soil, you can have whatever you want, but just don't put the logo on it. But for our actual meetings, it is important that you show the people who are looking at this poster, both Toastmasters and non-Toastmasters, what they will expect. Because they are in the position we were on before we knew what Toastmasters was. And for them, it's very important to make a quick link to the benefit that Toastmasters will bring to them. Will they take their kids trick or treating, or will they now be going to a meeting where they're able to build their confidence in their public speaking? So 3 seconds is all you have for someone to make a quick decision. And then after that, if they have time, they will look at it longer. But if they're just passing by and they see it and they see something that says Halloween with all those colors, that is for the kids for later. They move on to the next posters. You want to capture them. You want to show them the seriousness of it. As I've shared in the chat, you can always be flexible. For instance, Earth Day. You can always find ways where you're bringing people, the image of people doing something that is relevant towards Earth Day. And it still looks like they are communicating, they're excelling in leadership, and they are engaged in public speaking, but it is related to Earth Day. So what helps is to understand that particular theme and then to think around it on how to bring people and that theme together. So when it is Earth Day, what is Earth Day? What do people do on Earth Day? How do people engage on Earth Day? Who are the leaders in Earth Day, etc.? You just keep asking and asking these questions until you get that idea. If you really want to go to that extent, for those weeks where you really don't have the time, take the images that are available from the Toastmasters International website or our photo library for District 114. But if you really want to get into that idea of images reflecting the theme, think a little bit deeper, a little bit further, how to bring that theme and Toastmasters together. So if it is Earth Day, who are the people that are engaging in Earth Day? What is it that they do? Do they dig? Do they plant? And how do they do it in a fashion that can represent communication? I hope that has helped. All right, so now we have 8:52. We were supposed to go into the workshop, which is more or less like what we have done earlier on. All right, I see Mercy is on the same page. Wonderful. And Alex has also shared the 6 Elements of Design PDF. If you would like to download it and review it, you can always download it. We will share the same later in the WhatsApp group. And remember, everyone, the group is there for us to engage with one another. Don't feel stuck. You're not alone. You can always ask a question, and you can also reach out to Alex, to Baron, to myself, and we will also invite more VPPRs to be the trainers next time. And if you want to be a trainer and show us something nice, let me know. We'll have it for the next session. So I think we can just end it at that, as we're already out of time. We have about 4 minutes or so left to go. I would like to open up the floor and just ask if there are any questions, any additions, because we're here to share with one another as peer-to-peer. So if you know something that could really help everybody, you can always share it.
Hi, Angelina.
Yes.
If there are no questions, I just want to work with the roles. Let me see if I can just show how my thought process in creating a thank you poster.
Okay.
Maybe like in the next 2 minutes. I'll share my screen.
Okay, go ahead, Alex.
Share my screen. Is it Canva? Sorry, maybe it's Opera and use Chrome. Canva.com. Hi, Rose. Are you still on the call, Rose? Hi, Rose.
Yes, hi, I am.
Great. I'm just going to quickly show you my thought process. I make something almost similar, but at my club, a welcome poster for new members. So I like it that you're doing a thank you poster for your participants. Can you see my? Let me share my screen again. Sorry. Share screen. Can you see my Canva screen?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think one member asked what type of template would you use for social media? So, and Baron explained that sometimes when you use social and you use Instagram, which is 1080 by 1080, works best. So you would go through, personally I would use social media, then I would use 1080 by 1080. And you can actually come here and create a new design. Okay, I'm hoping the internet can cooperate because I want to do it in a very short time. Perhaps, wow, let me refresh this. Stop the video to minimize bandwidth. Share screen again. So I can even just explain this. There are templates that will kind of get you there halfway. If you search for templates that maybe even using keywords like thank you, it usually gets you a very good template to work with. For example, I'm going to pick Instagram post because it's a square. And once that template loads, your job is now to make sure it's within brand, and also perhaps you have a picture of the member, that particular member you want to thank. And most templates usually have the design elements in place. For example, the spacing, for example, the line, the texture. So your job is to use the brand colors maybe. And if you saw that when you add a logo, this is not going to work today. My internet is very slow. If you add your Toastmaster logo, the colors come. The image colors are going to come, and you can just click on the colors. So your job is to, number one, work with an existing template. Then number 2, just play with the colors and then use your own content, customize the content. Perhaps thank you, this member, for maybe being a contest chair, or perhaps being a contestant, or perhaps just being a Toastmaster of the day, or perhaps just being the most. Maybe they've finished a level. It's not going to work today, sorry. I don't have the best internet. But yeah, that's, I don't know, Rose, if that helps, but we can also extend this conversation outside this call. Thank you very much. Back to you, Angelina.
Thank you. I just had a question also for Angeline. I think I'll still engage you beyond this, but Angeline, could I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Yeah, we're encouraged to use pictures of people. And I just wonder, when you get people online and use their pictures, are we not likely to be sued?
Yes, I like that question. That's true. So what happens is that there is a form that can be used to capture people's consent for their photos to be used. And then there is, so let us say you have a meeting, and in that meeting, you're taking pictures of your fellow Toastmasters, your fellow members at the club. Now, you can always capture their consent in that form. And you can also just, sometimes getting that consent can take so much time. But as you're looking for the consent, you can also approach them directly and ask them if it's okay. Will they be okay sending you an email saying it's okay? And sometimes it just slips that you share the images. But always remember, if you don't have that consent and a member gets, unhappy that their image was used, they can always come back and create a lot of trouble. So that is why Toastmasters always insists, have people sign that consent form. Then again, what you have mentioned, when you go online and you pick any image, let us say you like Will Smith, and there's an image that is just perfect for the theme that has Will Smith on it, and then you use it. And then the guy sees it and it's like, what is this? Or maybe his brand people see it or something like that. And someone gets upset. And then it comes back to Toastmasters International. Now, those are the things that we want to avoid. So if you're online and you pick any image with any person, this can be trouble unless you know that person and they have them sign the consent form. Now, at the club, you can do the same. You can have them sign the consent form. And this form can be found online. I'll also share it here. It's called the video release form. I'll reshare it in the WhatsApp group later on. So that's a really good point that you've raised, Rose.
Thank you, Angelina. Just to add, some meetings, the SAA can even make it clear, especially if you're taking screenshots of members in a meeting. The SAA can make it clear at the beginning of the meeting that maybe this meeting is being recorded by participating or by continuing to be part of this meeting. You consent to being videotaped. And to me, that also works as a good disclaimer. But also, maybe you can also gather consent from members of your club ahead of time, perhaps during the orientation, or when the year begins, you can get consent for the whole year from members, so that when you're taking pictures of them, you don't have to go through the waiting time of getting consent. Sometimes you want to use a picture when you want to use it. So if you've gotten consent ahead of time, it helps.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Sawa, if there are no more questions, thank you, Rose. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Godfrey, for staying until this time, until the close of the meeting.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Angelina.
All right. Thanks, Patricia.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Good night to you.
Night, everyone.